Magandang araw po at welcome to my channel. Nandito po ang interview ni Miss Olivia Kidoko kay Miss Universe Singapore Bernadette Belong. Panoorin po natin ang kanilang naging interview.
You were born and raised in the Philippines, and then you were until 11 years old. Is that
Yeah.
correct?
That's
Okay.
absolutely right. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I was born in the Philippines because both my parents were also born and raised in the Philippines. So we were like a Filipino Chai community. And I grew up there up until I was 11 years old when my parents decided to move to Singapore for a job opportunity. And since then, I've been living in Singapore my entire life. So I would say that a big part of half of my life has been in the Philippines, less than half. Less than half of my life is in the Philippines, but then a big chunk of it is in Singapore.
Right. So, how does the Philippine culture molded you as a child?
I mean, obviously, like when you grow up there, you speak the language, so there's a lot of fond memories that comes with it. And I think in terms of being able to stay humble in your roots, your childhood always reflects that even as you grow older. Even if you're 30 years old, 40 years old, 50 years old, whatever that happens in your childhood definitely transpires throughout the years. So I would say that in terms of community, Philippines is the place where I really feel like people there care about you and that they love you and that they're very supportive, and there's a huge communal experience. I used to go to church a lot, and when I did, everybody was almost familial, even though we were not necessarily related.
Yes,
So that's
true.
it's
That's
very
true. And
family
also,
oriented.
yes, I totally agree. And being like very, very hospitable, I think that's one of the qualities of the Filipino that has, that's very, very inspiring to us, right?
Yeah, that's true. And you know what? Like, you go to Singapore and you don't feel short of not getting that Filipino experience because you have a huge community of Filipinos in Singapore. They, as you say, are in the hospitality sector and in the medical field a lot of the times. And there's not a day goes by where I'm out in Singapore and I meet somebody that's Filipino where I could use the language colloquially and speak with them in Tagalog.
Wow, that's amazing. And also, I heard that you also lived in Australia and also in Singapore, like Hong Kong and Australia. How has the exposure in different cultures prepared you for life in Singapore?
Well, actually, Australia was actually much later in my formative years. So I went to Australia when I was 23 years old. And I actually did that because I wanted to graduate there. I really, really, really wanted to study abroad. And when I was in high school, my parents put me through an international school. So when I was in an international school, obviously all my friends were from all over the world. And when I mean all over the world, I mean like my girl gang was from Australia, US, Korea, Japan, like literally everywhere. So naturally, when we all finished graduating high school, they all went to different parts of the world. And I felt like I wanted to have that international experience even further. And to me, Australia made a lot of sense because it wasn't as far as US or it wasn't as far as Europe when it came to distance and traveling time from Singapore, but it was Western enough that I was going to get a different cultural experience. So yeah, Australia happened much later down the line, but I'm very glad that I did because it allows you to broaden up your perspective and it kind of shakes up your own reality because sometimes you're so used to a certain way of thinking or a certain lifestyle, and then you go to another country and then you completely get mind blown, right?
Exactly. I totally agree with you. Yes. And also, you can speak Tagalog as well, right?
Opo.
Pasample nga ng Tagalog. Ang daming gustong manood sa atin. And they were saying that have her speak in Tagalog. So, can you say hi to everyone who's watching in Tagalog?
Okay, hi po! Kumusta na po kayo? Nandito lang ako sa Miami. kakarating ko lang last night. So, nandito ako, nagpa-packing, nagpo-photo shoots, tapos nagfi-fitting rin, kaya medyo maraming ginagawa. As much as I can bago akong pumasok sa Hard Rock Cafe.
Wow,
Ay,
tomorrow
cafe,
na,
Hard
di ba?
Rock Hotel.
Tomorrow na, di ba?
Opo, hindi naman sa tomorrow for me kasi alam ko yung mga kandidato, they can choose to go either tomorrow or the day after. So, since I came much later, since I just came last night, yung pagkasabi na lang ng director ko, maghintay na lang ako on the 7th bago ko pumasok.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's nice.
Yeah.
Everyone, sorry, naubo ko
Okay lang.
So everyone is so surprised that you're speaking Tagalog, but you are not you don't have Filipino blood, di ba? Tama ba?
Oo, tama naman. Both my parents are Chinese, pero both
Okay.
my parents were born and raised in the Philippines. So, Taglish, and being so close to the Filipino culture, the cuisine.
Yeah.
Let me tell you about the cuisine actually.
Sige nga.
We love it so much. We love Filipino food so much that my mom actually started a company that imports Filipino food into Singapore.
Wow. Like
Yeah.
what food?
Bangos. Bangos
Talaga?
frozen. Oo. Tapos, yung longganisa, mayroong parang meat restrictions in terms of food federation sa Singapore. So, they make their own longganisa from Singapore. And then they export that. Not export, they distribute that in Singapore.
Wow.
Pero yung bangos, they actually import in.
Wow, impressed ako. You're so good in speaking Tagalog. Literally, like the accent and all. Like when you speak English fluently. But when you translate, I mean, when you speak Tagalog, parang taga-Pilipinas na Pilipinas talaga. Ang
Oh,
galing.
like whenever my mom calls me, it's like Taglish ka agad.
Talaga?
Switch. Tapos my friends will be like, what? Where did that come from?
Yeah, this is amazing. Everyone doesn't know. Like, actually, some of the Filipinos until now are so surprised that you can speak Tagalog fluently. This is unbelievable. So,
Yeah.
Billy Crawford, Pinay na Pinay talaga. Right? Belle, everyone's saying, Belle, you are so Pinay, you're so pretty. What can you say about the fans that are very loyal to you, very supportive sa'yo, mga taga-Singapore and mga every like all the fans around the world?
Yun nga parang I'm so caught by surprise with this whole experience because I'm not used to this level of supportiveness and this level of love that comes out of their own volition. Kasi hindi talaga parang may ginawa ako tapos, because you did this, then we will give you support.
Okay.
It's more of like people coming forward for who you are without you doing anything. And I feel like that's so beautiful kasi there's nothing to prove to myself. And that's one thing that I really, really appreciate about everybody that has reached out, especially the ones that are not from their own country, right? Kasi I'm representing Singapore, but then I read all these comments saying love from Thailand, love from Cambodia, love from Vietnam, love from India, love from the Philippines, a lot of love from the Philippines. And I know that this competition can get very patriotic. Like, obviously, you want to represent the girl that's representing your country. It's a reflection back on you. But then to have everybody else from all over the world that say that they back you up, then it's so special talaga.
That's so true. Kasi feeling mo na, baka yung mga Singaporeans lang ang magsusupport sa akin. But then, these are fans from all over the world. Now, as we are speaking, love from Cambodia, love from Thailand, love from the Philippines. We're getting so many people all over the world saying hi to you, that they're saying that you're so deserving, from Dave Yuri. So this is unbelievable. Sabi, she's so eloquent. Mga Pinoy, let's go support natin.
Oh my God, thank you.
So, Mamang Glessy, go, go, go. She's so down to earth. La Liga Filipina. Love from the Philippines. Love from Malaysia.
Love
from
you guys
Malaysia
too.
again. Wow, look at
Yes.
this. So,
Oh my
nakakatuwa,
gosh, so
diba?
sweet.
Rooting for her. So, this love from Puerto Rico. Look at I know, gandang Pinay. Love from Saudi Arabia. Grabe, na-amaze ako sa pagsasalita ng Tagalog. You're very humble. Laban Pinay Beauties. Look at the comments. Mabuhay Philippines. So, thank you so much. I know you're so busy. And then we
Maraming salamat po sa panonood at nawa po ay nagustuhan nyo ang video kong ito. Sana po mag-subscribe na rin kayo sa aking YouTube channel account for more updates. Maraming salamat po talaga.